to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. This how-to podcast is focused on empowering you to live your best life by incorporating the principles of the law of attraction, NLP, meditation, and other spiritual teachings. I'm Jeannie Hall, a certified NLP practitioner and creative empowerment coach. Let's get you empowered. Hello and welcome to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. This is episode 37, Bad Days. So as a creative empowerment coach, I work with authors and writers and other creatives who are looking to reconnect with their creativity. And most of the time that is writers dealing with writer's block or creatives that are just unable to find that inspiration and motivation to do what it is that they love. And that sounds like a strange problem to have maybe to other people who've maybe never dealt with that. But sometimes things happen in our lives that negatively impact how we look at what we do and how we go through our lives. And sometimes you can have like a death in the family and it just takes away your joy for a little while. Sometimes you can have some breakup of a relationship or another major family upheaval of that kind. You might have some kind of medical diagnosis. It could be a lost job. It could be a lost home. It could be a major financial upheaval. There's so many different things that can come along and knock us down in this life. And when you're down and out and in the gutter and kind of down on your ass, to be frank about it, sometimes it's really hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that is the reason that I created this podcast. It is for my clients, but it's also for anyone who wants to listen and receive that inspiration and that positivity that we all need a jolt of sometimes. We all need to be picked up and supported and be reminded that we are not alone and that we are spiritual beings that are kept in these human bodies and that we have a connection, of course, to this physical body that we're residing in, and that's special and it's important for us to take care of it. But just as important is for us to remember that connection to our spirit and keeping that whole and remembering who we really are. Because in our lives, sometimes we get distracted and we get sometimes even torn away from the reality of the spiritual self that we actually are, which is pure and gives unconditional love and is made for joy and is made for growth and learning, but just to have fun too. That is what we are designed to do in this life. And some people have such a difficult life that they think that's not true. They think I'm just here and this is hell the whole time I'm here and I hate every minute of it. Hopefully not, but sometimes people have a really hard time. So this podcast is just a reminder to those of you out there having a hard time that you are not alone, and anytime you need support, there are people who are willing to give it. And whether you just need to listen to a podcast to lift you up, whether you like listening to, music, whether you like looking up pictures that make you smile or laugh, whether you like reading positive books or about affirmations, or whether you like to pray or meditate or whatever it is that you like to do to make yourself feel better, it's all good. And just remember that when you're feeling bad and in the dumps, there's always a way to pick yourself back up and to build toward a better place, because you have unlimited power and an unlimited capacity to love within yourself. And that's what you're made of, literally, is love on a spiritual level, on an energetic level. You are literally love. And you are literally energy, positive, divine energy. throughout every cell of your body. That is what you are. And so you can design a life. You can make a life out of whatever you want, and you can do whatever you want. And if you feel stuck, and if you feel trapped, and if you feel like that's not true, that you can't do that, there are choices that you can make. And not bad negative choices, but good ones, good decisions that help you. And it doesn't have to be some major decision like walking out on someone or just, leaving a job with no preparation or any of that kind of stuff. You can take small little decisions and build that into a much happier, better life that's got the joy and the happiness and the fulfillment and the meaning that you're looking for. So just never forget that. No matter who, I follow a whole bunch of coaches since I'm one myself. And I know so many people that I listen to, their podcasts in particular, and these are famous, successful, they're rich, they're happily married, they have kids, they have lots of things going for them. They're healthy. They may have gotten themselves healthy. And one of those people is Brooke Castillo, who is a master life coach at the Life Coach School. And this lady went from 70 pounds overweight and a horrible childhood and had addiction and alcoholism and all sorts of different things going on, and changed and transformed herself. And she had anxiety disorders and all sorts of different things going on. And she built over time. Now, this doesn't happen overnight, so don't beat yourself up if you try and make a change and it doesn't go the way you expected, or you have a little bit of a fallback on that. That's okay. Get back up and try again. Just remember that you can do whatever you want. You really, really can. And this lady, she came from all of this difficulty, all of this pain, and it became something completely different because she made the decision that she was going to be a success and she was going to figure out how to do it. And so she did, and she started changing the way she saw things. She started following positive people, and she actually, became a wife, a mother, and a life coach. And she has since transformed her business into well over, it's a multi-million-dollar business that she runs with her husband, and has this wonderful lifestyle. And she still has anxiety to this day. If you listen to the Life Coach podcast, she'll talk about sometimes she'll still have anxiety problems, even though she's basically got everything on her list. If we have a checklist, if I think this will make me happy if I have these 10 things or these 25 things or whatever it is, she has all of that, every single bit. And she still wakes up and has anxiety sometimes and a little bit of panic. So we all, no matter who you are, no matter what you've dealt with, no matter where you come from, we all have our struggles. And it is okay to reach out and ask for help. In fact, sometimes it's mandatory. Sometimes that's the only way to get through it successfully. And whether you reach out to a family member or a friend, or whether you get professional help and get a coach or get a counselor or whoever you think will be the best fit for you, just remember that you can always do that. You can always reach out. There is always help to be had, especially in this world of online help. You can literally Google search what you're looking for and look at someone's website or watch them in videos or contact them personally and see if they're a good match. A lot of coaches have podcasts, so you can listen to their podcast and see if you think that will, if you connect with them and you resonate with their message and you think they'll be a good fit for you. Don't shy away from that. Get whatever help you need. And just remember, we all have bad days, and sometimes it's interesting, some of us have bad days and we blame it on specific circumstances, and sometimes it is. Sometimes it's something, external to us, like a diagnosis or an injury, or maybe something horrible happens at work. It can be that life-altering stuff I mentioned a little bit ago. A house fire happens, or a car accident, or a flood, or someone passes away, or something, or you lose a pet, God forbid, any of that stuff. It's just awful. All of those things are so hard to get through, but you can get through them. And it's just important to remember that you can. But we've all been in circumstances where we've lost a car in a car accident, or we've lost a family member or a pet, or we've dealt with some horrible situation at work that's just draining and stressful. And those are all difficult to deal with. I can totally understand any of those issues for sure on a personal level. But no matter what you're dealing with, sometimes we get down on ourselves when there's no actual reason. And kind of like when I mentioned Brooke Castillo a little bit ago, she's got everything that most of us, if you're looking from the outside in and you're looking at this person as like, does she have money? Yes. Does she have a happy marriage? Yes. Does she have 2 beautiful teenage sons? Yes. Does, is she a successful businesswoman? Yes. Is her work meaningful and fulfilling for her? Yes. She helps train life coaches so that they can go out and help clients. And because of the ripple effects she has, she's not just helping a couple of clients or a couple of coaches. She's helping because she's developing a school. She's affecting hundreds of thousands, maybe eventually hundreds of thousands. And she's got a very popular podcast, so a lot of people hear her voice and get, support from her that way. It's just amazing what she's been able to build. And even she struggles with anxiety. Sometimes we wake up and we start to get out of bed and we just feel yucky. And it's not that we're ill. It's not that we're actually sick. It's just our whole emotional state sometimes is in the gutter. It goes in the crapper sometimes. And we'll wake up and go, I don't know why I'm feeling bad, but I am. I feel meh. I feel yucky today. I don't want to do anything. I want to just, hide under my bed or lay on the couch and watch Netflix all day, or, I don't want to do anything that I need to do. And it happens to business people, entrepreneurs as well, who are at home and have a million things to do. We all have a million things to do, whether you're a parent, whether you work outside the home, whether you work inside the home, whatever. We all have our pitfalls, and it's really easy for any of us to fall into that trap. And it's so easy for us to get to the end of a day or a week or a month or a year and go, what happened? What if the results I wanted, I didn't get? How did I not be productive? What kind of results did I really want, and why didn't I get them? And that's why it's so important to be aware of your thoughts, and even more so your feelings, because whatever you're thinking it over and over again, it starts to affect how you feel emotionally. So if you wake up and you're feeling yucky and you're feeling meh, and you don't actually have an external reason for that, then it may be something to look at is go, well, what have I been thinking? So what I'd like to do today is recommend one process that helps you to kind of look and see what might be causing these yucky feelings. One of the ways you can do that is by journaling. And a lot of people do this already. A lot of people have a journal or a notebook, and they'll just write and write and write. But if you've never tried it before, I definitely recommend just writing out everything in your head and be uncensored. Don't worry about penmanship or handwriting or anything, or if you go off the page, it doesn't matter. Just write and write and write and get out what it is that's inside of you. Because what tends to happen is these yucky meh feelings, especially when we don't have a direct reason. If we're mourning someone, or if we're in the middle of a breakup, or if we've just lost a job, or any of those major upsets, or dealing with an injury or an illness, we have a reason to feel crappy or shitty, whatever, because we have a definite reason for that. But if you don't, and you're like, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel so shitty when I wake up in the morning? One great way to determine the reason is by journaling and just letting it all out and just spilling it on the page. And just the act of physically writing with your hand on a piece of paper, whether it's pen, pencil, or whatever, it really does make a difference. And it's kind of a good release mechanism to get it all out. So then when you're done journaling and getting this all out of your system, however long it takes, don't set a timer. Don't put yourself under any kind of limit. Just write and write and write and see what comes out, what spills out of that pen. And when you're done, read over it and see what it was, because it will come out. It will come out for you. So once everything comes out and you've read over it and you see what it is, you're now given clarity over what it was that was troubling you, that maybe you didn't realize. Maybe it was something buried. Maybe it's a limiting belief. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed and you didn't realize you were feeling overwhelmed. Maybe you've been given so many choices and options that even though that should be freeing, right? Sometimes it does the opposite. Sometimes it actually leads to us being completely overwhelmed, and then we just get stuck in one position and don't know what to do. So if that's you, that's a great way to determine, especially if you wake up feeling crappy and you don't know why. That is a great process to use, is just journal it out, baby. Get it out of your system and see what it is. And then you can take steps to remedy it. A lot of the solution to problems is determining what the actual problem is. If you don't know what it is, you can't release it, right? So try that and see if that helps you. And something else I'm doing for my Serene Saturday podcast coming up this Saturday, what I'm planning to do is a process called a rampage. And no, I'm not talking about the new movie with The Rock. I'm talking about an Abraham Hicks process. And what it is it's kind of a rapid fire, or at least it can be a rapid fire bunch of affirmations spoken, and sometimes it's set to music and sometimes not. But these rampages, they basically build on each other. And so it's affirmations that come out and they build to this emotional crescendo. And the amazing thing about them is that when you listen to a rampage, it makes you feel light and high and invincible even. It can make you feel like you can do anything after you hear these, because the power is in how it builds to that crescendo. And it's usually quite a bit shorter than like a typical guided meditation, depending on what's in the meditation. And it's not just a list of affirmations, it's a building list of affirmations. So if you have never heard of these kind of rampages, I definitely recommend you go to abraham-hicks.com, which is the official Abraham Hicks page. You can find that on the internet, of course. And you can also check out the YouTube channel. Just type in Abraham Hicks Publications. I'll have links to both of those in the show notes, and I'll also have a link to Brooke Castillo's site, of course, as well. So it's a great, when you hear Abraham do the rampage, it's very, very powerful. I definitely recommend it if you haven't already checked out those sorts of things. And I'm planning to do one of my own this Saturday, so check that out, and I hope it lifts your spirits. I hope that when you get down, this is one of the most important things. When you are down, wherever, if you need to grieve or mourn or something like that, it's understandable to stay down for a little bit. That's fine. But at a certain point, you need to turn over the leaf and pick yourself back up and say, okay, I am not happy like this. I'm tired of feeling down and depressed. I'm tired of crying or whatever may be happening, and I'm ready to start to heal. And one of the best ways to do that is to look for something that's going to uplift you and inspire you and help you to feel better, whatever that is, whether it's self-care, whether it's walking in nature, whether it is the old standby of taking a bath, whatever it is, taking a nap. That's a great one too. But sometimes listening to other people's guided meditations can be great. Listening for affirmations can be great. There's a lot of people who do that on YouTube. There's a lot of people who have podcasts that are related to that. So just Google meditation and podcasts. A lot of times you'll have people come up that are really great at it. And I'm going to try my hand at an Abraham Rampage this weekend on Saturday. So check that out if you're interested. And also be aware that I do have a whole page of guided meditations on my website, creativeempowermentcoach.com/guided meditations to take you right there. So check that out. And as always, Just be kind to yourself and have an empowered day, week, month, and year. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. If you've enjoyed this content or found it helpful, please let me know by leaving a review. I upload podcasts every Wednesday and Saturday, so subscribe to receive these regular updates. Now, go out there and live a more empowered life.